they started to ask, Guruji, could you tell us, we've heard that one day Brahma had a son that got in a fight with Ganesh Baba. How is this possible? How is it that positive and positive is going to fight? And Guruji starts to laugh. And he says, sometimes, oh children, parents try their best. He says parents try their best, but sometimes it is their karma to be tested by the activities, by the actions of their children, by their offspring. And he makes a very powerful statement here. And we touched on it the other night. He says, when you want to know pain, when you want to know suffering, have children. He says from the mother's perspective, that pain is not only when the child is within her, but when that child comes out, every fall that child makes, every mistake, every lesson, every separation, it is physical pain. And for the father, as the child is growing and learning, and at the same time making mistakes, making strides, but also making mistakes, with his experience, if he could shield that child every single time, he would do it. But the problem comes when you do that for children, you rob them of the lesson inherent in that experience. He says parents have a very difficult role when it comes to children. That whilst they guide like two railings along the road of life, sometimes falling, damaging, lessons have to be learned. And it is the karma of the parents and the child that sometimes it is not a nice road, it is not a nice journey. He says you are correct that Brahma did have a son, but in his mind, although he was coming from the highest lineage, although he had the best genetics, he was still lacking in character. He says, please listen to the history of this child that is called Singular, and how he really got into trouble with Ganesh Baba. Let's hear what happens. Everybody, last night I had a lot of throat problems. Tonight, please help me sing. Jai Bhole Baba Tab Sharma. Then it is said that one time Mahavishnu was hosting a yagna. And in this yagna, every devta, every devi was gathered. All the Dikpal, all the devtas that sit in the various directions, they came to protect that place, that mandap, where that puja was being done. Every person is seated on kushagas. Every person is utilizing the kush grass to make offerings of water. Where we put the mango leaf, they are using kush grass. To make offerings, the ladle, the handle, the spoon that is being used to offer the ghee into the fire, kush grass. The prasad, the bhojan, everything that is prepared, it is either placed with, placed on, or on top of it as kush grass. As a result, everything was purified. One, two, it was sanctified, and it was safe, it was secure because of the presence of this kush grass. And we understand why now. It is said that Mandakini and all the different rivers took human form to be there, to sanctify. They are placed in every puja for children. This is the water that we normally put inside the kalsa. They are all representative of purity, sanctity. And it is said that when this long and very arduous, very tough worship was done, different types of gifts, different types of dakshana, gratitude, gifts of gratitude for all the public, all the different people that came to guide the pujari, the yajman, different types of gifts were given to them. And it is said that Brahma, one by one, they started to go to their various abode after the gift giving, after the food was shared. Vishnu goes to Vaikuntha. Mario Baba returns to Kailash further. Brahma goes to Brahma, where Devi Saraswati is. All the various Devis and they have left, the puja is completed. And when Brahma returns to his abode, he is very tired and he wants to take a rest. And seated on his lotus flower, he closes his eye, and in the depth of this rest, his mind starts to create different entities. And at that moment, from the nostril of Brahmadeva comes a lot of heat. As in his mind he's seeing fire, lava, different type of heated creations. From that nostril he creates a person. This person is naked, very red, and main feature, very heated, very hot. Physical hot, temperature hot. And by the mere touch of the sun to sleeping Brahma, he awakens his father. Still drowsy, still groggy. He says, I have just been created. You must be my father. Brahma, halfway asleep, halfway waking mentality, he says, it must be so. He says, oh Father, you are Brahma, and if I am your son, I wish to ask of you a boon. And Brahma again in that sleepy tone, he says, let it be so. He says, I wish to become very powerful. I wish to become indestructible. I would like to be able to control the element of fire, the ability to raise a person's temperature when I touch them, so much so that their body will be reduced to ashes in seconds. May you please give me that vardhan so that I will be able to overcome any and all adversaries. Brahma, without thinking, without a second thought, he says, let it be so. And in that moment, he gets the vardhan. And Brahma says, because of your heat, because of your redness, I will call you Sindura. And Sindura leaves that place. And he starts to cause havoc all, not only on earth, but throughout this universe. challenging and defeating, challenging and destroying, challenging any form or any creature that he would like to overcome, overwhelm. And what happened? After a short while, not very long, Indra comes to look for Brahma. Let's hear what happens. Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samsena Namasasya. Indra, in a very perturbed voice, in a very upset voice, he says, Sharda Devi, how could you allow this to happen? Mother, you who have all the knowledge, you who have all the vidya, may you explain to me the greater picture, the bigger picture here. Maybe my vision is limited. May you open my eyes so I can see how is this possible. O Lord Brahma, how is this your creation? Saraswati Mata is still waiting to hear what is the problem. And she says, Indra, Shanti, come now. May you please tell me what it is you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Your son, who is worse than that red hell, where people go for disrespecting, when they disrespect female, when a person touches a female body without permission, when he's not husband, when he's not father, and he touches her in a very sexual, inappropriate way. People that rape children, people that disregard to feed children, they go in this red hell to burn, and he's worse than that. He is overcome by greed, by lust, and he has this power about him that none of our soldiers can touch him, none of our weapons can penetrate his body. It is as if he's a walking Agni Kund, and every time we go close to him, we get damaged, but we cannot even make contact with him. May you please tell me, Omara, what it is I don't know. He's touching on a point where sometimes we see in management for people that work with other people. Sometimes a person in a job is looking at, let's say, a tree. You're looking at one single tree in front of you, and this is the world of trouble, the world of worries, the world of responsibility. And then you have somebody above you who is trying to show you sometimes, don't look at the tree, but try and pull back and look at the forest. And understand that when we make decisions, when we do things, there's a bigger picture. And he's asking for this bigger picture. Guide me, show me why it is I can't understand what is happening. I agree, there might be some good in this, but I cannot see with my limited sight. May you please play the part as Guru and open my eyes, remove the ignorance, so that I will be able to understand how to handle this situation. And Brahma says, it is my creation, he is my son. And in a moment without thinking, I gave him the Vardhan that he would be so powerful. No, I am hurt. It is said that when a child acts inappropriately, the parents, their souls are pulled down. Because the parent has a responsibility for the upbringing. Last time we talked about how the mother and father deserve to be as the guru, the first guru. We spoke about that. But there are some parents that disregard the need for proper tutelage of their children. And this is what he's referring to. When a parent only focuses on one side of development and that child is not developed properly, and they fail in this world of life, in this world of spirituality, in this world of academics, however you want to look at it, the parent, when he faces Yamraj, and God says, I made you a parent, I gave you daughter, I gave you son, I gave you stepson, I gave you stepdaughter, what did you do? What choices did you make? This first time we said that when the father sees the eyes of the child, he takes up the role as a teacher, as an exemplar, as the example for that child to follow. For people that are not following me. If the father never says, son, this is how we offer tarpan, hold your hand like this, then you're going to end up like me, having to get tied up between my grandmother and Gyan. Because there's no example. When children, when young girls have the degree, when they have all the ability to sing and play music, but when they get married and they can't cook, and there is physical unrest in that house, the day you meet God and he asks you, why didn't you train both son and daughter in the task, in the ability to take care of themselves in this world? Why did you rob your child of that? You weren't robbed of that. You had that knowledge. Why didn't you allow your child to be self-sufficient and properly prepare them for the school? What will you see? You tell them my grandmother used to. Sorry, she had me. When we were small and we was going to school, and me and my two sisters were home. Don't worry, kids. Let them turn, pick up the book. I pick up purity. So we won for years. And when she went and I went, university, I had to learn my force. Charm that time it was square, it was triangle, it was circular, and that time it was. And when the big one married, well boy, all he's singing and satsang is not the roti that time. I'm talking from home. And please understand that it's some fun. But there are many homes having that problem now. Because as our children are getting educated academically, household side, spiritual side is falling to the side. When these children get big and they have children, they don't know how to unchain. They don't know the little things, the little art, the little knowledge. It comes back to knowledge. How to take care of their children, how to take care of yourself, what to do. And the question comes, he says, I am responsible for the outcome, for the choices, for the mentality, for the mood, the seed that is planted within the mind. Last time we talked about the mood. Two people can do Hanuman Puja. We will sit down and offer the same single saffron flag, whatsoever. But my motive, my purpose of the prayers is different. I am praying for the betterment of the temple, the people, the sick in the hospital, etc. And there are some people who will pray, God, my neighbor feel he have too much, damage him. This lady feels she children going up too much. Don't let nobody come marry God. Let us stay ready. Same prayers. But look at the mind of some people. He says, I am the Father, and I accept my responsibility that I could have done more for him. Rather than just give him every single thing he wanted. Today I have created a monster. Today I am the father of a monster, and I accept that. I am helpless. It is my words that are bearing fruit now. Nobody can destroy him. But O Indra, let us go to Mari Baba. And he would give some remedy. They go to Maria Baba and he relates to them. Let's go to Lord Vishnu. And on the bank, waiting for Vijay to allow them to get into Vaikunt, Sindhura comes. And what does Sindhura want? He says, I would like to have Kailash Parvat. I would like to have this property. Look at the word he uses. I would like to have this property for myself. And I want you to give up this property. If you know who I am, if you know what I am capable of, surrender now. No damage will come to you, I promise. I'll be merciful. Mario Baba smiled and said, son, this is your chance to turn and walk away right now. If you stop and willing to forget everything you just said, and you can leave. Sindhura wants to touch Maria Baba with the intention to burn him. And Maria Baba starts to move because by the blessings he can, while he can overcome the power, it is by the blessings of Brahma, that by the words of Brahma, that this power is there. And out of respect for Brahma, Maria Baba would allow himself to be burnt by the touch of this person. So rather than be burnt, he starts to move. And as he is literally chasing Lord Shiva from place to place, Parvati Mata puts her hands together and she starts to pray for her husband. And she calls on that unseen Adishakti, that Mother, today my husband is in trouble. Something is chasing him, something is behind him. May you protect him. Mother, may you help him. May you save him now. Let's see what happens. As Devi Ma announces what is happening for the children of Lord Shiva to hear. Narayanaya Krishnaya Paramatmaya Namo Namah. Narayanaya Ganapati calls on Ganesh, who is playing with the gunners. She calls out to him in that form called Shipra Ganapati. The one who reacts very quickly to our problem. In this form, he looks very red. He has 2 hands and his 2 feet as if he is kneeling down, sitting on his heels, rocked back on his heels. In his hands, he has a strange fruit. He has a noose. He has a mace, and his last hand is open for blessing. I'll tell you what that fruit is, you'll be surprised. For people who believe, when you bring Ganesh Puja, all I can offer is laddu. You'll hear what that is just like. She takes a form and she says, "Oh Ganapati, you are playing here, child, and your father is in deep trouble. He is running for his life. Oh dear child, you are the remover of obstacles and trouble. Will you not go and help him?" And Ganesh Baba is ready to go. He says, "Devi, Ma, do I appear to be that type of child that will see my parents in trouble and I will leave them be?" He says, "Mother, the biggest mistake a person can make is to forsake their parents in the times of need." He says that person who sees their father who needs help when physical strength is lacking and they choose not to do it, know that for 7 janam, for 7 birth, you will be born as a pig for that one sin. Because these people, when your own body as a child, when you cannot stand, they are there willing. When you fall, they feel your pain. And when they reach that age where they are now feeble, you kick them, you disown them, you disregard them because their body is failing. You will definitely, baby, reap the reward of that action. Cursed is the child, the female child. In this case, he's referring to the daughter-in-law. And when you read it, you know, there's a section in the Quran that talks about the sins we commit in our past life. Somebody will say, "Well, God, I don't know why I did my last life." Tell the person who cannot speak, the person who cannot hear, the person who cannot see, God made all of us equal. And they will watch you like you really stupid. How could my child be born and not one day see the beauty of the sun? What did my child do? How could my child be born with pain throughout their body? What did that innocent child do? And you know what Bertrand answers that question with? A person's karma, a person's deeds, unfortunately, as harsh as it sounds, is what causes these things. God says, based on your last action, that you speak on truth, it is good, it will not work. You'd like to listen to gossip in your next life, it will not work. You like to lie and say, "I saw when I didn't see," and you like to embellish, it will not work. He says, when a person, like a daughter-in-law, sees the father-in-law, or they're saying in literal words, father and mother. Please everybody understand that the father-in-law and the mother-in-law, if you didn't know, they are your father and mother when you get married. There are some people that don't know that. When the father and mother are in want of water, people, young girls that turn their back on them, that disown them in that moment. But when the body is ready to go, they want to put water in front of the hearse. They want to do that time. They want to offer that time. Know that a daughter-in-law like that in your next life, because you took from your mother and father. And I am saying that in father, no. In your next life, you are born as a leech. The leech is that parasitic thing that sits on a person's body and starts to burst the skin and suck the blood from the host. That person who sees that the father-in-law and the mother-in-law are hungry and you would offer everybody, but you would leave them there hungry. Whether son, well, not son-in-law, but son or daughter-in-law. These people in the next life, they, after going through a long period of time in hell, know that when you are born back, you are born into the deepest and depths of poverty. You scavenge like animals looking for food to find a morsel of something to eat. And when you do find something to eat, it is considered unacceptable by normal standard. He says, Mother, do I look like that? Mother, it is paining me talking to you here knowing that my father's in trouble. Mother, cursed are those children, pitiful are those parents when children turn their backs on their parents. But blessed are those children that stand with them in that old age, that I personally will protect them. Prem so Shri Ganesh Baba ki Jai. Ganesh Baba, he wants to leave from in front of his mother, in front of Devi Ma, and he wants to go to see who in the right mind is interfering with his father. He's in this form, he's not the calm and cool and loving Ganesh that we've heard over these nights. In this form, he's very heated. He's prepared for battle. The dhoti is tied differently. The headpiece is different. He's not wearing a crown. When you watch some Ganesh Baba, there's a piece of cloth tied on his head. And he's ready with his weapons to go. And when he reaches to the spot to see his father running, it breaks his heart. Shukracharya says that it weakens his knees to see the powerhouse Mahadev Baba himself moving like a scared animal, running helter-skelter as Sindhura is laughing. Ganesh Baba, without asking any questions, he enters into that place and he calls out to Sindhura, "Oh, you wicked person, oh, you pitiful soul, oh, you condemned souls, come and touch me. Don't bother with him, come and touch me." And Sindhura likes nothing more. He goes straight. Let's see what happens. Everybody, especially people who are seated here tonight, those of you looking on at home, in all the various stations, be honest, there are some people having problems with children. Say prayers tonight and let's see what happens. As Ganesh Baba is ready to fight. Narayana Krishna He says, "Come again then." So person who has conquered anger says today you are falling on death. Oh, you poor soul, oh son of Brahma, you are falling on death and you're praying, can I give your prayer to fire? And he makes the motion to touch his face, to grab hold of that tusk. And Ganesh Baba realizes that if he lets him touch him, he'll get burned. And as Sindra is rushing to hold him with all his face, Ganesh Baba resolves to swallow him whole. And Ganapati Baba opens his mouth wide enough, and Sindra runs into the mouth of Ganesh. And when he goes in, he's mesmerized by the stars and planets that he sees, and he forgets that he just went into the mouth with him. And Ganesh Baba swallows him. Prem Shri Ganesh Bhagwan Ki. And as that heat goes into his stomach, Sindra still very much alive, filled with power. He says, you know what? I'm going to burn you from the inside. And he takes his hands and he puts it against the wall of his stomach. And he starts to burn. He starts to inflict pain upon Ganesh Baba. Ganesh Baba throws himself on the floor and starts to roll in pain. And he calls out to his mother. He calls to his father, help me, my stomach is hurting. Mari Baba does what he knows. He says that when I had the halal poison first coming into my throat, Chandrama sat on my forehead. Chandrama went there. And he takes the moon from his head and he puts it onto the head of his son. And he says, by the cool glow, by the cool reflection of the moon, may you please cool his body. Ganesh says it is helping. But as the pain recedes, it comes back stronger. Mari Baba is more perturbed, and he's looking at Parvati Mata, and Parvati Devi says, Ganga came upon your head to cool your body, O Mahadev. May you bathe him with that Ganga Jal, that cold and cool water will bring him the ease, allow him to drink some. And they start to bathe him. If you ever see a picture where Ganesh Baba has Ganga Mata as if he's holding her in a jata, this is where that came from. He drinks, he bathes, he's standing in Ganga Mata, and as the temperature goes down, for a little while he's out of pain and then he comes back up, full pain, if not more pain. All the painters of muscle, they don't know how to help him. And Ganapati Baba is rolling. His skin, the color of his skin is changing. It is becoming red as this demon is blowing hot air onto his internal organs. As his hands are like fire scorching his internal. It is showing on the outside in a red glow. And his parents want to help him, but they are helpless. What else could work? And passing at that moment was the son of Atri Muni, the brother of Dattatreya. The person who has the power when it was time for Lakshman to be no more upon it, the person who causes the person who causes the demise of Lakshman there right now, the person who causes the death of Krishna, that person is walking. Who is he? That powerful Durvasa Rishi. Durvasa Rishi had the knowledge to do many things, and he was quite capable and competent when it came to his dharma, to the prayers, to the rituals, and to the ability to help people out of very difficult situations. But he was also very popular. For those of you that know, when Sri Ram met with Yamraj in Ramayana, and Lakshman has to enter into that personal chamber to separate them because of Durvasa Rishi, that temple is renowned. Shukracharya says Durvasa Rishi entered into the arena, into that place, and he looks to Mahadev and he says, "Oh pitiful father, heed my advice. Place one strand of duva grass on the head of your child, and all his trouble will be gone." This parent is very upset. This parent does not want to hear a blade of grass will solve what the moon, what Ganga Mata couldn't solve. And Mari Baba himself wants to believe, but his mind is too sad. Indra steps out of bounds, and Indra says, "Oh you little human, oh you little hermit, what do you know? Go back to the woods, do your job. You can't help. What would one strand of grass do?" And just as Durvasa Rishi was going to react to that insult, Parvati Mata intercedes. She interjects, "This is not the time. I am willing to try anything that will work for my child." And she takes the duva grass and she puts one strand where there is the head, where the 3 strands on top. That is what we use. Not necessarily the root part, but the top where there is 3 strands. She places with Lord Shiva's permission on the head of Ganapati Baba. They allow him to ingest some leaf. And let's see what happens in this our final verse for tonight. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. Jai Bole Baba Tab Sharanam. With that one that he ingested, it is said that the body of Sindura merged into his body. There was no heat, there was no danger, but the color of the sin of his body, Sindura, was Ganesh Baba, to become very red. If a person does this prayer, the murti of Ganesh Baba, where he's red by the name of Shipra Ganapati, sudden sickness, sudden accident, sudden incidents, surprises that occur in a person's life, but especially when it's negative, a person can overcome. When you're seated in the hospital and there's trouble, this is a form of God that you do. The word Shipra refers to that form of Ganesh that acts very quickly, very violent, very without hesitation, just as he did to save his father. This is the mode of this form. It is said that the person, as Ganesh Baba brought up, he said the person, he asked Durvasa Rishi, is this herb rare? Is this herb isolate? Where is it? What is the history behind it? This medicine that you have given to me. He says it's common, people disregard it. People kick it. People don't know about it. But they don't know the knowledge. They don't know the power of it. And that is why they treat it as such. But Ganesh, as you can see, it is vital. He says, O Durvasa, O parents, the person who gives me one of this will overcome sickness and trouble. Because it represents medicine. This is where we always offer it to Ganesh Baba, first of all. Second of all, when you have prayers and you offer the sweet rice, let's say, keep it the sweet rice, the prasad, and you offer the water after, and you say, God, because I fed you, I'm giving you something to drink. Because sali represents a dessert, a fruit. And then you put the dew grass and say, I didn't get to taste the prasad. If it is in some way wrong, upsetting, in any way, causing discomfort, and would you give medicine, just as you would give a guest Alka-Seltzer and juice, whatever, may you please be comfortable, may you please be happy, having eaten my food today, my prayers in my room. This is why we do offer this grass to Ganesh Baba. This is why it is important. This is why it is symbolic. In fact, when a person offers Ganesh Baba this dew grass for parents here tonight, when you have a young girl that is, because of whatever reason, hormonal, because of her own attitude, out of control, when you do Ganesh Puja in the red form, or you take your Ganesh Murti and besmear him with silver, and you offer the mala made of dew grass, whether with the string or you intertwine it, it makes no difference. The grass is what is important. This is where you ask, may you please calm down, just as this grass calm down that heat within your body, may you calm down and control my girl child. When the boy child is acting out of character and he's going wayward, he's not, as age is progressing and he's not coming back onto the right path, this is the prayer. This is why you are offering that dew grass now. Many people put it, but with the understanding that Ganesh Baba wants this. Change your thinking on that point and make it because you need his blessing. From time to time, children give trouble, and this is one mechanism that parents utilize to bring back peace and shanti in their house. Ganesh Baba doesn't want anything, but he will reward you for the good activities that you do, and this is one example. Ganesh Gita, which is a part of the same Ganesh Puran, is where a king is asking Ganesh Baba how is a person supposed to live and so on, asking for advice. And I just want to read one verse where he says, a person that thinks to himself that I am not going to bother, I am not going to do anything, and you know what? God will be happy with me because I am doing nothing. I am not going to bother myself with all the different things that will plague my mind, and God will be happy with me. There are some people just give up. They abandon, not give up, abandon their duties. There are fathers that think, you know what, this child is too much of trouble, I give up. There are mothers that say, you know what, this child, this grandchild is causing me too much a headache. Physically, I'm on tablets. I don't care. I give up. He says when people do this and neglect their duties, instead of going upward, they're going downward. Because what you are responsible for is your actions and your actions alone. And going back to the katha that we talked about, when a parent is asked why you did, why didn't you do your duty, you can't say because of the activity of another person, I didn't see sense. The heart of the mother is that heart that continues to pray, continues to fight for the upliftment, for even the most wayward child. We do not give up on them. Nowhere in our scripture is that supported. Nobody says it's easy. It's difficult. But with prayers, with God's blessings, and these types of offering are supposed to overcome these obstacles by virtue of Ganesh Puja, who is the remover of all obstacles. Prince of Shri Ganesh Bhagwan Ki. Everybody, let's all stand as we close an arati. Let me leave the arati in Charan's hand. As you all join together, please clasp your hands. Oh.
जय गणेश देवा जय गणेश माता तेरा पार्वती पिता महादेवा जय गणेश देवा जय गणेश माता तेरा पार्वती पिता जय गणेश देवा जय गणेश माता तेरा पार्वती पिता महादेवा जय गणेश देवा जय गणेश माता तेरा पार्वती पिता महादेवा भगवान को भोग करके संत करे सेवा संत करे सेवा प्रभु संत करे सेवा जय गणेश देवा जय गणेश माता तेरा पार्वती पिता महादेवा एक रंग लाया चार भुजहारी एक रंग लाया चार भुजहारी माथे के सिंदूर सोहे भूषण के सवार
by your grace tonight, I've understood your form just a little bit. I've understood this offering of this bluegrass, the significance, the happiness it could bring. Ganesh Baba, may you put me in such a place that I'll be able to offer bluegrass to you. May you give me the physical strength to do it. Dear Lord, may you bless the children here tonight. Regardless of their age, may you help them and maintain their mode of thinking. For those children that are going off and disregarding the feeble parents and grandparents, those that are disrespecting them, Ganesh Baba, may you bring a heat, may you bring a light inside of them. May you wake something up within them. And Prabhu, may you remove the obstacle that is barring them from doing the right thing. Ganesh Baba, for those parents whose patience is being tested, their tolerance is being tested, their love is being tested. Ganesh Baba, may you bless them, may you protect them, may you, as that fire sometimes is chasing them in their mind. What will this child do next? What will he say next? What will she do next? Ganesh Baba, may you be the rescuer, may you be the hero, and help these parents. Help them when they are at their darkest hour. May you come quickly and destroy the demons that are plaguing their life. Ganesh Baba, we turn to you in our time of need. And we ask you for your solace, for your help, for your solitude. May you help me. May you remove the obstacles that keep us from being happy. Ganesh Baba, this is our prayer tonight. May you bless me to have a memory to keep this knowledge. Together, everybody, with one voice, as we final pratna. Twameva Mata. Everybody. It is said that the person who gets to hear this kata, problems with children remove. And when you're finished with the prayer, you put that orange tilak on your forehead. When it is offered to Ganesh Baba, you get it after that. So please, before you leave, make sure you get that. May you all please take your seats. As I'll ask Charan and group whilst the surgeon is being done.
गणपति देवा जय जय गणपति देवा देवा हो देवा गणपति देवा जय जय गणपति देवा देवा हो देवा हरि देवा हो देवा गणपति देवा जय जय गणपति देवा देवा हो देवा देवा हो देवा Yes.